Jai Jagannathan.
Hearty congratulations, Nitin, for receiving BBA Jayachandra Award from Sumeru Jain Foundation. How do you feel now to receive an award in the name of a great Jain scholar and an academician?
Thank you, madam. I think first of all, I would like to thank Sumeru Jain Foundation, the trustees and the award committee for considering my work and for the award. I think that is the first thing I would like to say. And when it comes to Dr. M.A. Jayachandra, like I have grown up seeing his works, hearing his name at a distance. Later on, he happened to be my relative, and later on, we kept on reading his works. All of his works are prolific works, and when it comes to his works, even to this day, I think he's one of the living legends of the Jaina academic field right now. And being considered for an award in his name, I think it's something like it's a shot in the arm and a huge encouragement for anyone, and particularly for youngsters like me. I think it really feels very proud. It's a proud moment, and definitely I feel I'm elated. At the same time, I feel my responsibility in the field of Jainism has further increased. That's what I feel.
That's good. You are a marketing technology specialist and you have been in the field for more than 15 years. How demanding is your work?
Work, of course, it is demanding, and particularly in the corporate world or any role for that matter. As we start getting more experience and keep moving up the ladder in a professional career, the demand and expectations are very high. I mean, that is always there, but one thing that always keeps us motivated is the work that we enjoy doing the work, and particularly in my role, being a marketeer plus a technologist. Marketing technologist, I think I look at the technology side of it and plus the marketing side of it and trying to strike a balance between both. I think when we look at cracking that, that overlapping or the sync up between both, and we are able to achieve something, I think that is where we are really able to enjoy in spite of whatever demanding or whatever is the pressure we have, is what I feel.
Jain community is proud of you because you're being part of Guinness World Record. What is the process involved?
Guinness World Record, before the process, I mean, in short, what I would say is more than anything, the concept is what that plays a very pivotal role. The Guinness World Record that I was part of was for a world's largest photo sculpture for Accenture's logo that you have the greater than symbol. It was in the form of a like three-dimensional tower that we created with photo sculptures with photographs of individual people taken by individuals. Plus, it was a sculpture built of just a 300 GSM paper plus Fevicol, but it was all formulated very well. I think that played a very pivotal role than the process. Again, when it comes to the process, there are two ways that happens. A, the Guinness World Record team, they come to the location, or B, we keep on sending them the proofs. Ours was the second option, wherein the first option is very cost heavy, for which organizations, many people who attempt for the Guinness World Record, they go for the second option. The same thing is what we did, and they ask us for certain kind of evidences. They give us clear instructions after the initial documentation and review, and we, at every stage, we keep on informing them. We keep sending them the like the proofs, I think the documents and the proofs of the attempt. That's how the entire thing went through. And finally, like when we send it over to them, even they have any iota of doubt, even a small doubt, then they again revert back to us with furthermore queries, furthermore evidences, and all other things are called for. I think that is how the entire process is, and finally, like they look at the other similar attempts being made, and finally they say this is being conferred. And for any person, for a matter of fact, myself, or even for Accenture as an organization, it's a proud moment because the like hearing that is always itself is a fascination, and being a part of it and attempting it was a much bigger achievement. I think that was a good opportunity that I had in my career, my professional career. At the same time, finally, last thing I would say about the attempt is getting the record certificate and holding it in your hand. That itself is a huge satisfaction. I think nothing else can match it, is what I feel. Right now, for a matter of fact, we can find a copy of the actual original copy of the world record certificate plus a prototype of the sculpture that was made in Accenture's office in Bangalore.
Okay. You're so busy in the corporate sector. How could you glide over to the role of a Jain activist?
Uh, I mean, that's a very interesting question. What I would say over here is, I think the busyness is one part of it, but the process we learn on the corporate side of it, I think I have attempted to use it in my Jaina activities. I think that is where I'm able to strike a balance between both. The same processes of the way what we operate over there. I'm trying to adapt some of them in my Jaina activities. I think that is where I'm able to glide between both.
Okay. Your website is a unique contribution to Jain community. It's almost 2 decades since you launched the website. Would you mind tracing your journey?
Sure, of course. Yes, I think the website journey, it all started. I mean, like, this is our 20th year. It's launched on 26 May 2002. But before that, it has a precursor to it. I would rather say, I mean, the upbringing mattered a lot to me, and the background about the Jainism, Jaina literature, heritage, and all that, and also being born in the northern part of Karnataka, particularly in Hubli and Dharwad, the literary thing, all of that added to the background. Then I think it was somewhere in 99 2000 when I got my, like the desktop, when as a part of my academic studies. At the same time, I tried to do some other maneuvering, trying to see a few other websites about many things. That's when I felt not much is seen about Jainism or Karnataka or anything. Something has to be done in this regard. That's how it all started. I would say, I think I would give 100 out of 100 credit about the entire thing about starting it and coming over until initiating thing. It is all because of my father. All the credits goes to him. When I graduated out as an engineer in 2001, I was just 21 years. Had it been any other father, they would have said, first go look at a job, go search for a job. These are all next things. But I told him I want to do this. He said, is it? It's about technology, something related to your career that will help you in your career. You're trying to do something for the religion, for the country, for the state, for the nation. Let's do it. I think that kind of a support is what that mattered. And to tell you, like, so that's how we started off. Then it went on, and initially it was just about putting in information about temples, a bit of news. That was the whole intent how it started. Later on, it took various twists and turns, I should say, and I think that itself is a very unique experience altogether. I think every opportunity that came my way, I just grabbed it, picked it up as a project, picked it up as an opportunity, and I continued. I think that is how the entire journey has been. But at the same time, in the due course, I have been in touch with quite a bit of the Jaina ascetics, pontiffs, and the Jaina scholars. For a matter of fact, when we launched it, like today, we are with Dr. M. A. Jayachandra sir. Now, the website was launched by Professor M. D. Vasantraj sir, one of the other doyens of the all-time Jaina great scholars. I think that's how it was. Working with all of them, that kept on motivated us. Then it went on, then Happana sir, then even the Jains and non-Jain scholars. For a matter of fact, Professor Dr. Devarakonda Reddy, who is doing a tremendous work in the field of Jaina epigraphs. I think all these things, and also like-minded friends, and also some mentors, whom I would always like to say is R.P. Jain, Saho R.P. Jain from Delhi, who kept on motivating me. Then our late Nirmal Kumar Sethi ji, then our Bhattaraka Swamiji's, Kanakagiri's Bhonkirti Swamiji when it was launched, then the Shravanabalagada's Charakirti Swamiji, then the current Swamiji of Ucharjit Jain, Devendrakirti Bhattaraka Swamiji. I think all of them, they kept on supporting us. And that's how I'm able to traverse so long. But I think, like I said, it is a long story by itself. But in short, it's like I started it small. I think it's still going on. I just hope I continue to do it as long as I'm able to. That's all I would say. But yes, I think it's been a great journey.
And I appreciate too the number of webinars you have conducted, both in quality and number. They're tremendous. How could you manage to do all this?
I think more than managing it, it's about the intent behind it. Because like there are a lot of the online medium is very powerful these days, but to what extent are we using? To how effective is what that matters. When it comes to the Jaina research field, particularly on the academic side, particularly on the temples, inscriptions, and heritage, not much has been done.
True.
One, and to be honest, I think even we have our own set of preconceived notions about people and about the way we work. For example, North Indian saying, they don't know much about the South. And the South saying, we don't know about the North. And the Jains saying, oh, non-Jains, what have they worked on the Jaina field? And the Indians saying, what have the foreigners worked on the Jaina field? I said, we need to have a level playing field for everything. And we need to make, and even the youngsters not getting a forum to present. So we thought all of this has to be, it should be a culmination of all, where it's a level playing field, people of scholars across the world they come and work. I think that was the whole intent of doing it. I think we have done whatever little we could do. I think even if it's been, I think
Quite successful.
even if it is a dot, I think it might be just a dot in the vastness of Jaina, this thing in the world it is. But still, I think something we are able to do. I think mainly the intent is what that keeps us motivated.
I admire you for being an epigraphist. This demands a consistent and focused attention with a lot of patience and perseverance. It's a field where there is an abundant need of research. Where did you draw your inspiration for this?
I think that's a very good question. I think like I mentioned, when I started the website with the support of my father, he used to go to and research about temples and all. I used to also do the same thing. We used to write about, okay, this inscription says this is what it is, fine. But I said, when I was doing such work, I came across some other inscriptions. I used to come across them. I used to just take the photographs and get going. And we used to see some news coming out about people finding new inscriptions and all. I kept doing it. I think it was in the 2015 or 16. I think I came across one of my very good friends, Dr. Ravi Kumar Kenavaldu. He was researching about, for one of his PhD work, we used to publish his research work on our website. And at the same time, when I used to go on field work, I used to send him some inscriptions. He said, Nitin, why you are doing so much, you are doing so much of research. Why don't you try your hand with the inscriptions? That's how it all started. He's been one of my main support pillars, I should say, along with my father. Along with that, I think I would also thank Dr. Devarakonda Reddy sir. He's one of my other inspirations, I should say. The kind of work that he has done in the field of Jaina epigraphy is also tremendous.
You are a part of ever-demanding corporate sector. You are an active researcher. And during Mahamastakabhisheka, that is both in 2006 and 2018, you were part of many committees. This speaks highly about your time management skills. What would you suggest to young researchers? Because generally they say there is no time, there is no time.
And what I would say over here is, like you mentioned, one is I'm part of the technology world, and at the same time, like using the technology towards any of your activities you do is one. And one other thing is, like about how do you want to really interact with things. It's about setting your priorities right. Many a times, we have seen people, okay, everyone watches a reality show, I should also watch it. Everyone watches a football match, yes, I want to watch it. But there is something you need to draw a line between both. I think that is where prioritizing things is what matters a lot. At the same time, I think multitasking thing which I have learned in the corporate world, I think that is also helped. For example, if I'm traveling to as part of Mastakabhisheka, if I'm traveling to Shravanabelagola, you end up traveling almost all the weekends for close to 3 to 6 months during the Mastakabhisheka. But what we do over there is, during my traveling, use your gadgets, try speaking to people when you're traveling. So you're trying to utilize your time. So I think that is where it matters. One is setting your priorities right. Just because someone else is doing it, we don't have to do it. And see what is your what is that you want to do over here. I think that is where we can be very clear. Having that clarity of thought around how do we want to proceed helps us get through.
as a Jain activist?
I think that's a very different thing. I think one thing which I want to say to many of our friends is being an activist doesn't mean you have to go to the streets and do it.
Shout slogans.
It's not about shouting slogans, it's more about being output oriented activities. I've never intended to be a Jain activist, it just came in. I was interested in Jainism, kept on working. I found something was not good or something can be made better. Try working towards it. That's what we work. Particularly on the Salekana case, that is the best example. Where everyone was speaking about Salekana. Oh, Jains cannot practice Salekana. Fine. So, what is the implication? I just gave my knowledge. They said, why don't you be a part of the team that works with the Supreme Court of India to bring a stay order? I got into it. That's how it was all about situational. Pick up the situation, try to see how best you can based on your skills. Because we have website as a tool, a powerful medium. Do it. We use website during many of during the Girnar movement or during the Salekana thing or even otherwise. So you use the things that you have, try to make a difference. I think that is what I feel being an activist rather than always going to a street and being a part of a protest. So that's how I would like to differentiate it.
You are involved in conservation projects of Jain heritage across the state. Enlighten us about conservation. We don't understand much about conservation at all.
Right.
I think it's quite a new field, especially for children.
Exactly. So
Tell us how can we conserve heritage center?
So conservation itself has various dimensions in it. For example, madam, for a matter of fact, you are a painter as well.
Yes,
You are an artist as well.
I know about conservation of paintings.
Painting. So that is one field. So then the other thing is conservation of manuscripts. So
Even
then,
that I have little idea.
yeah, then the conservation of inscriptions, conservation of idols, temples. For example, I mean, in short, to be very short, when it comes to conservation of any paintings, you go to the typical, you have some of the other artists who are still celebrities in the field or who are practicing that specific style of painting. You get in touch with them, try to use those natural colors and you do it. That's one way how you conserve any of the paintings. Next is when it comes to manuscripts. You pick up the manuscripts, you try to clean them using the required chemicals or whatever, the cleaning agents, then digitize them, then ask people to work. That is the second way. Then the third way is about the inscriptions. Basically, like same thing, trying to see whether an inscription has been published elsewhere. Like could be an Epigraphia Indica or could be Epigraphia Karnataka or the Karnataka Jain inscriptions or any of those volumes. And look at the various university publications, then try and document them. And at the same time, when it comes to conservation, one other aspect is get in touch with the local authorities, could be the state archaeology or the central archaeology teams, and try to seek their support or the Jain community support and see whether it can be placed there, it can be placed in a better way. So that's how it is when it comes to inscriptions. Same thing with the idols. Again, when it comes to temples, the state archaeology teams, the various pontiffs, the various organizations, could be even the, for example, the Karnataka state government has a state archaeology department where they conserve the temples. Then when it comes to on the other side of it, like we have the Dharmotana Trust by Virendra Hegideji and his team in collaboration with the government of Karnataka. That is how we get into temple conservation projects. So like this, there are various avenues. We just need to look at which are the bodies where we can get into. Like one best example is one is Virendra Hegideji's thing, that is Dharmotana Trust, then the State Archaeology Department for the temples. When it comes to manuscripts, earlier the government of India came up with the National Mission for Manuscripts in India, wherein the then government, they gave around 100 crores for the conservation of manuscripts. So those kind of projects, I think we need to keep an eye on the various projects. The main thing is, it's not like we are dearth of funds, it's all about the knowledge or the know-how about what are the things that are available within the various government, state and central government things, is where I think that helps us get through in any successfully in any of the conservation projects.
That's nice. It's remarkable that you received a national award for photography. Share those happy moments with us.
And that's again a coincidence. Like I said, being a Jain activist was just a coincidence. Again over here, photography is my passion. I read photographs from my website. I kept on taking photographs. Went to the Mahamastaka Abhisheka Mahotsava of Lord Bahubali at Vedur. I think think it was somewhere in 2012 or 2013. Took the photographs over there, and I never even took the photograph with an intent of an award. It was just a thing. Took the photograph of the Pushpa Vrishti or the anointing of the idol with flowers. Then ICICI Bank, one of the well-known banks in India, they said for all the account holders, you have a competition. I said okay. They said flower and its forms, or flower and different parts. I said okay. And I was just looking into, can I be a part of this, because at the same time I was also conducting various photography competition in Accenture, like we discussed earlier. I said, why can't I be a part of this? And I said okay. I was just looking into my images. Okay, this is flowers again. Where is ICICI Bank? Where is Jainism? And where are flowers? Somewhere we are able to connect the dots, and I was able to just present it, and it went through the entire voting and the judging process, and I came out successfully. It was just a coincidence.
That's nice. Now, I feel it is you being alert, sensitive, creative, all this put together has made it.
Could be. It's about connecting the dots, is what I feel.
Yeah, true. How was your experience of being part of a Discovery Channel project? It should be a lifetime opportunity for anybody.
Yes, of course. There were two projects which I happened to work on. One of them, that was during the 2006 Mahamastakabhisheka again. Website is my medium. Wherever I go, we kept on doing our own website activities, and people kept on accessing our details. I think giving that authentic information in a very corporate and presentable way made the difference. People from Discovery, they came across our website. They approached me. They said they want to be at Shravanabelgoda's Mahamastakabhisheka. They came down here, and many other channels and government channels approached Swamiji, or the pontiff of the Shravanabelgoda Jain Mutt, asking them for a specific kind of, like a hanging camera they wanted in front of the Lord. Swamiji had denied. But when I got on the Discovery Channel, Swamiji said, yes, we will permit you. This was way back in 2006. I was like, everyone were amazed, the entire staff were amazed, many of the photographers were amazed. But then finally we said, okay, Discovery Channel will come down to the Mastakabhisheka. Due to their visa issues or something, they could not come down. That was the first experience. But that connects, I just kept in touch with those people. Later on, the same person who was a part of that project, who had come down to Bangalore, Mysore and Shravanabelgoda, where I had traveled with them, she approached me, that lady. She said,